The basement felt colder, as if the very foundation of Willow Lane had inhaled sharply. I just stood there, staring at the stranger. My sister Ilara clung to my arm, trembling so hard I could feel the vibrations through my own bones. The man took a step toward us, then another. His shoes made this soft, echoing sound on the concrete floor, a sound that seemed to fill the entire space. I swallowed hard, trying to force my voice past the fear that was tightening its grip around my throat. "Who are you?" I managed to ask. The man tilted his head, slowly, almost thoughtfully, like he was considering the question from every angle. His voice, when it came, was a whisper that sent a fresh wave of dread climbing my spine. "Your mother didn't tell you? Even at the end?" Ilara shook her head violently beside me. She never said your name. She just said you needed to stay hidden." His smile was small, but it was deeply, deeply unsettling. "Yes," he murmured. "Genevieve was always fond of her secrets." He walked past us, his movements unnervingly calm, and approached the hidden room, the room I had just discovered moments before he appeared. He brushed his fingers along the willow-carved doorframe, a strange reverence in the gesture. "Your mother built this room for me," he whispered, his voice barely audible. "The night she realized the truth about your father." My breath caught in my throat. "The truth?" I echoed, the word feeling foreign on my tongue. The man turned back to face me, his eyes dark and unreadable. "Your father wasn't the man she thought he was." Ilara let out a choked sob. "Stop lying, but something in me needed to know." I held up a hand silencing her. "Let him talk," I said softly, my own voice surprising me with its steadiness. The man stepped inside the secret room, his eyes scanning the walls covered in photographs and notes my father's desperate investigation. He paused, his gaze landing on a picture of me as a little girl, standing in the hallway of this very house. "You don't remember that day, do you?" he asked, his voice softer now. I shook my head slowly. "I don't remember you at all." He offered a sad, thin smile. "You wouldn't! You were so small." Ilara's voice was a raw whisper, filled with pain and confusion. "Why were you in our house? Why were you with Mom?" The man's eyes flicked up, meeting mine. "Because Genevieve and I were in love." The words felt like shards of broken glass tearing through the air. I felt Ilara collapse inward beside me, as if her ribs could no longer hold the weight of her heart. The man continued, his tone eerily calm. "She wanted to leave your father. She was planning it for years, but your father—" His expression darkened, a shadow passing over his face. "He didn't take abandonment well." A surge of protective anger rose in me. I stiffened. "My father wasn't controlling," I said, my voice sharp. "He wasn't—" "Your father was many things," the man cut in, his voice suddenly edged with steel. "But you were too young to see it. You only saw what he wanted you to see." Heat rushed into my chest, a burning defense of the man who raised me. "No," I whispered, the word a desperate plea. "Dad was kind. He was patient. He taught me how to ride a bike. He helped me with my homework. The man's voice suddenly boomed through the small space, cutting me off. "He beat her, Mara." The accusation echoed off the concrete walls, heavy and suffocating. I recoiled as if struck. "No," I whispered again, my body starting to tremble uncontrollably. He never would." Ilara was shaking her head desperately, her eyes wide with disbelief. "He didn't. Mom would have told me. She would have told us something." The man let out a laugh, but it was a bitter, low sound with no humor in it. "Oh, Genevieve didn't tell you everything. She was a master of secrets, remember? She hid the bruises with makeup. She told the neighbors she tripped on the stairs. She told the doctors she fell in the garden. She told you whatever she needed to protect you, to keep her world from falling apart before she was ready." I closed my eyes, a wave of nausea washing over me. The memories I had of my childhood, of my family, were suddenly being twisted into something ugly and unrecognizable. Ilara was shaking her head so fast she looked dizzy. "Mom lied about everything else. About this room. About you. Why should we believe this now?" It was a good point. A lifeline. The man's voice softened again, but this time it was into something colder, more menacing. "You don't have to believe me." He reached into the inner pocket of his coat and pulled out a folded, slightly worn envelope. He didn't hand it to me. He tossed it onto the small desk in the center of the room. It landed with a soft thud. My hands trembled as I reached for it, my fingers fumbling with the flap. Inside were documents, police reports. Filed under my father's name. A domestic disturbance call from a neighbor who heard shouting. An anonymous complaint about a woman crying. And then a hospital report. Admitted for a fall. Diagnosis: fractured rib, contusions. My heart felt like it was cracking, splintering into 1,000 pieces. The kind, patient man from my memories was dissolving into a monster. But then through the blur of my tears I noticed something. A detail, the handwriting on every single report. The way the T was crossed, the loop of the G, it was all identical. And it was the same handwriting that was on the note the man had left for me earlier, the note that led me down here. My stomach dropped. A cold, clear certainty cut through the fog of my grief and confusion. These aren't police forms, I whispered, my voice shaking with a new kind of emotion. Not fear, but fury. They're copies. They're recent copies. These aren't originals. The man's jaw clenched. The muscles in his neck stood out. I looked up from the papers, my eyes locking with his. The unsettling calm he'd worn like a mask was gone. You forged these, his smile completely faded. And in the suffocating silence of that basement room, the real truth slipped free. He wasn't a heartbroken lover. He was a liar. And whatever he wanted, it had nothing to do with my mother's love, and everything to do with my father's secrets. The game had just changed. And I was no longer a frightened girl in a basement. I was my father's daughter. And I was going to find out what was really going on. Thank you so much for watching. If you're hooked on this story and want to find out what happens next, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss the next chapter. See you in the next video.